I covered the David case a while back. Since then, a lot of new information has been reported on. Let's talk about it. Quick recap for anyone who needs it. Celeste Hernandez was a 14-year-old girl from California whose dismembered and decomposing remains were discovered on September 8th, 2025, stuffed inside the front trunk of a Tesla registered to rising pop star singer David. Real name David Anthony Burke. The car was at a tow yard. Prosecutors allege that now 21-year-old David, who had been involved with Celeste allegedly since she was 13 years old or possibly younger, murdered her on the night of April 23rd, 2025 after she threatened to expose the relationship and destroy his music career just 2 days before the release of his debut album. In April of 2026, he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, continuous SA of a child, and dismemberment of human remains. He has pleaded not guilty on all counts. This case is still ongoing, so David is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So according to the prosecution, this is what they believe to be true. This is what they think they can prove happened and what they plan on arguing when this eventually does go to trial. David and Celeste first met in January of 2022 when she was only 11 years old. They began a romantic relationship in November of 2023 when Celeste was 13 years old and David was 18. Over the following year, Celeste spent a significant amount with David, including summer weekends at his Hollywood Hills homes and trips to Vegas, London, and Texas. They had matching tattoos on their right index finger, and Celeste also had his name, David, tattooed on her left ring finger. When Celeste's parents reported her missing in early 2024, Riverside County officials found David's phone number in her phone records and they contacted him. Los Angeles County officials then conducted a wellness check at David's rental home on February 17th of 2024, and they told him then that Celeste was only 13 years old. This was a previous time that she went missing, but despite this, prosecutors alleged that David, quote, continued to pursue her, allegedly even paying a junior high school student in Celeste's class $1,000 to give her a cell phone so that he could contact her without her parents knowing. In March of 2025, Celeste sent David a text message that prosecutors have now entered in as evidence. It read, quote, "All we do is have just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself," end quote. The night before Celeste is believed to have been murdered, she and David had a lengthy argument. Text messages describing how she had become extremely upset, jealous over his relationships with other women and girls, and angry that he had led her to believe that they had a future together. She threatened to disclose damaging information regarding their relationship to, quote, end his career and destroy his life, end quote. The timing of that argument is important because David's debut album, Withered, was scheduled to release in April of 2025, just 2 days away, 2 days after that argument. He had product endorsements, he had a lot of contracts signed, and he also had an entire world tour booked. According to the prosecution, on April 23rd of 2025, David sent an Uber to go pick up Celeste from her house at approximately 8:40 p.m. We also know that Celeste told her family members that she was going to go hang out with a guy named David. She arrived at his Hollywood Hills home around 10:10 p.m. Prosecutors say that within minutes of her arriving, David ended her life. At approximately 10:30 p.m., just 20 minutes after Celeste had arrived at his house, David allegedly texted Celeste's phone asking where she was. Prosecutors described this as part of, quote, premeditated plan to cover up the murder as she was already dead by this time, end quote. Her date of death was officially listed as, quote, on or about April 23rd, 2025, end quote. What followed, according to prosecutors, was one of the most methodical and disturbing cover-up attempts in recent Los Angeles criminal history. David bought two online that he then used to dismember Celeste's body in an inflatable pool. He also purchased a body bag and heavy-duty laundry bags. Prosecutors believe that Celeste's body was dismembered on May 5th, approximately 2 weeks after the murder. During a later search at his Hollywood Hills home, LAPD reportedly found evidence inside of the garage consistent with the dismemberment of Celeste's body. Samples were tested and they matched her DNA. The inflatable pool was also located, and officers noted that it had multiple little cuts. Small blue plastic fragments were also found embedded in the remains, and an expert with the Los Angeles Police Department made, quote, a physical fit match from the blue fragments to the blue inflatable pool, end quote, in which they believe that Celeste's body was dismembered. So he did what he did inside of the inflatable pool to not get evidence everywhere, I guess, and they believe that there is evidence of that not only in the pool, but also directly on the remains. Prosecutors alleged that David then, quote, amputated her left ring and pinky fingers because her ring finger contained a tattoo of his name, end quote. Her fingers have still not yet been recovered. For several weeks or possibly months, prosecutors alleged that David left Celeste's body decomposing inside of his Tesla. He allegedly, quote, lied to friends, business associates, and others who noticed a strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle, end quote. David was last seen driving around his Tesla on July 29th, 2025, before he parked it around the corner from his rental house and left LA for his world tour. The car sat, the smell got stronger, and eventually someone reported it. It was September 8th, 2025, when the LA Police Department was called to that tow yard in Hollywood after reports of a foul smell coming from the vehicle. The Tesla had been towed to the impound lot after it was abandoned in the Hollywood Hills neighborhoods. Inside the front trunk of that Tesla, wrapped in bags, were human remains in an advanced state of decomposition. On September 10th, an initial autopsy was performed, and then on September 16th, it was confirmed that their remains did belong to Celeste, who had been reported missing by her family members well over a year ago. On September 17th, LAPD investigators executed a search warrant at the Hollywood Hills property occupied by David, and they seized electronic devices, including a computer. The medical examiner ruled Celeste's death a homicide on December 9th, 2025, but the report was sealed at law enforcement request for months. LAPD Detective Joshua Byers argued that releasing the autopsy details could reveal investigative strategies, witness identities, and/or additional information that could have potentially compromised the case. That autopsy report was finally unsealed on April 22nd of 2026. And as we know, when the body was discovered, it was in an advanced state of decomposition. It was also dismembered into several parts. It's from those results as well that we now know that some of her fingers were not there. On April 16th, 2026, nearly 7 months after the remains were found, David Anthony Burke was arrested by the LAPD. Prosecutors claim to have 40 terabytes worth of evidence, including data that they took from phones, computer, tablets, and David's iCloud. And following his arrest, prosecutors reported finding a, quote, significant amount of CSAM on his iCloud storage account. Other evidence they also obtained include photos of Celeste and David engaging in activity, if you know what I'm talking about, as well as text messages showing how David allegedly manipulated her. Please keep in mind, she was a child, he was not. As of where the case stands today, the preliminary hearing, that hearing is where a judge will determine whether there is or isn't enough evidence for this case to move to trial. That has been postponed from May 1st to May 26, 2026, after the defense requested more time to review just how much evidence there was. Defense attorneys have also expressed concern about the fact that this case is receiving a lot of media attention, raising concerns about being able to find a fair jury. But the defense, so David's side, from my understanding, is still holding on to the fact that David is innocent. They plan on arguing that he was not responsible for any of this. He is currently being held without bond and no trial date has been set. There's probably so much information that we don't know. There's probably so many things that they are keeping to themselves so that it doesn't compromise the case. I'm so intrigued about what the defense's argument is going to be, because how are you going to explain that? Anyway, that is all for me today. Let me know your thoughts on this case. I know a lot of you guys are also keeping up with it, so let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed anything. And yeah, thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you guys are having the best day. If not, go do something to make it the best day. Make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you.